Okay, so what comes with a high stress Silicon Valley job? Because my company was in Silicon Valley. I I I became an alcoholic. Now
Hmm.
there's some transparency for you.
Yeah.
We drank a lot. I was constantly out at headquarters. I was constantly with big companies. I was constantly at dinner with big companies. I was a woman in a man's world. I drank them under the table, and then it suddenly became an issue, and it was not a problem with the company. And I would say it was only lasted maybe 3 years. But I went to rehab, and halfway through rehab, I said to the rehab people, I said, this is the longest vacation I've ever had, and they looked at me and they said, it's rehab. I said, really? Because you make my meals, you don't let me cook. All I do is talk about myself. And, I was like, this is great. I was in San Diego, and, then I come back. And part of coming back is you have to go to therapy,
Mm.
and you have to go to AA for a while and all that kind of stuff. So it's been, I'm thinking 6 years since I think something like that. Anyway, since I've been sober, but anyway, so I come back and I go to my therapist, and I had said, sign me up for something. They won't let you leave. You don't leave rehab until you have a therapist lined up. And I said, find me somebody I can walk to. I live in Midtown Atlanta. We can walk everywhere. And I thought, I know she's not going to work out, or he, because it takes forever to find a good therapist, right? Oh my God, she was perfect. She was perfect. She looks at me and she goes, basically, you ruminate about the past and you catastrophize about the future. And then she sent me home and she said, this week, every time you find yourself catastrophizing about the future, write it down, write it down. And then she'd made me think about what would really happen if I lost my job, or what would really, happen if they were like, oh, Susie, you think you're so good at your work, but we just figured out you're really not, or whatever, just stupid.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
made me look at things in a realistic way. And then when it was time to stop working, I was like, it was just suddenly, it was just not a problem. It was not a
That's
problem.
first of all, cannot thank you
Yeah.
enough for sharing. I
Yeah.
went to
Yeah.
therapy when I was about to get married. I went, look, I love this person, but I'm supposed to say forever. How do I know forever? Forever is a very long time. I mean, how could anyone say forever? And then we talked about it, and it wasn't one of those things that you can pro con to the nth degree. And, I married now a month, and hopefully for the last time. But in life, she said, look, you really just don't know. You can say forever, you could do your best, but you don't know. And that
Yep.
I felt the weight come off me. Oh my God, so I don't have to know everything. So I'm
They're
with you in
they're
that
so
sense.
good. They're so good. They really
Oh,
they a
it's
good
almost like
therapist.
they're
There's nothing like it.
professionals.
I know, right?
I know,
Right?
right? So,
And not they're not Grok.
okay,
Grok
let's
is my
talk
new
about,
therapist.
yeah,